There is a narrow rectangular plot reserved for a school. So the plot is of the rectangular shape. The length and breadth of the plot are in the ratio 11:4. At the rate of rupees 100 per meter, it will cost rupees 75,000 to fence the plot. What are the dimensions of the plot? So the plot is of rectangular shape, So this is a rough diagram. So this is our rectangular plot and you have to fence it, right? You have to fence the boundary. Now, clearly the length and the breadth, the ratio of the length and the breadth given is 11:4. So let's say that this is L, this is L, this is breadth, this is breadth. So length, that is L, ratio breadth is 11:4. It means that if your length is 11 meter, the breadth will be 4 meter. It means that if your length is 11 times 2 meter, your breadth will be 4 times 2 meter. That is, if the length is 22 meter, the breadth will be 8 meter. If your length is 11 times 3 meter, then your breadth will be 4 times 3 meter. That is, if your length is 33 meter, your breadth will be 12 meter. If your length is 11 times x meter, therefore your breadth will be 4 times x meter, that is 11x ratio 4x, right? It means that we don't know the dimensions, of the plot, only we know is the ratio. So from this discussion we can say that if the length is 11x, then your breadth will have to be 4x. Okay, so we have assumed that the length be 11x, then in that case your breadth will be 4x. Okay, now tell me one thing. If you have to fence the boundary, it means that you'll have to cover this length, then this breadth, this length, then this breadth. It means you have to cover the perimeter. So perimeter, if we denote the perimeter by P, is equal to what? 2 times length plus 2 times breadth, or 2 times length plus breadth, right? So if we have assumed that our length is 11x and breadth is 4x, this becomes 11x plus 4x, and you get 2 times 15x. That is, your P comes as, that is, the perimeter is actually equal to 30x, right? 30x meter. Okay, so your perimeter is 30x meter. That is, you'll have to use whatever material you use to cover the fence, that will be of the length 30x meter. Now, at the rate of rupees 100 per meter, it will cost rupees 75,000 to fence the plot. It is given that the rate of fencing is rupees 100 per meter. Rupees 100 per meter. So if you fence 1 meter, if you fence 1 meter, the cost comes as rupees 100. Therefore, if you fence the whole this 30x meters, then the cost will be rupees 100 times 30x, right? This is called the unitary method, right? So the total cost to cover this will be how much? Will be rupees 100 times 30x means what? 100 times 30 times x means 3000x. Okay, so this will be the amount that you have, that will cost if the rate is rupees 100 per meter. The fencing rate is rupees 100 per meter, and we know that that is actually how much? It is 75,000. This tells us that this should be equal to 3000x should be equal to 75,000. Now I'm again repeating if you're getting confused. This is the rate. This is the rate of fencing. That is, if you fence just 1 meter, it will cost you 100. So we have, assuming that the length is 11x and the breadth is 4x, we have calculated the perimeter. So if for 1 meter we have to pay rupees 100, it will cost us rupees 100. So for 30x meter, it will cost us 3000x rupees, this much. But we know that the exact amount that we are actually paying is 75,000. So this should be equal to this one, right? So if you now solve it, this becomes x is equal to 75,000 divided by 3000, right? So we have 3 zeros here, we have 3 zeros here, and then if you solve it, you get x as 25. Now x comes as 25. It means that if you have to calculate the length now, the length is actually how much? 11x, so 11 times 25 meters, right? If you calculate this, this comes as 275 meters. Then breadth comes as 4 times x meter, that is 4 times 25 meter. This is equal to 100 meter. So the length is this, breadth is this, and these are the dimensions of the plot. A man buys 2 kinds of cloth materials for school uniforms. Shirt material that costs him rupees 50 per meter and trouser material that costs him rupees 90 per meter. So this is the rate, right? This is the rate per meter for shirt, and this is the rate per meter for the shirt material, and this is the rate per meter for the trouser material. For every 3 meters of the shirt material, he buys 2 meters of the trouser material. He sells the materials at 12% and 10% profit respectively. His total sale is rupees 36,600. How much trouser material did he buy? Now don't get scared by the length of this question. Okay, take one sentence one by one. Imagine that you are the shopkeeper, right? So you are the shopkeeper, right? And you own a shop. Now you own a shop, and what you do is you buy shirt material and you buy a trouser material, right? Okay. Now the rate given is that if you buy 1 meter of shirt, it costs you rupees 50 per meter, and for every meter of the trouser material that you buy, it costs you rupees 90 per meter. Okay, this much we know. Now, for every 3 meters of the shirt material, you buy 2 meters of the trouser material. So when you went to purchase shirt material, so if you buy 3 meters of the shirt, then you buy 2 meters of the trouser material. That is, the ratio is what? 3 meter to 2 meter. Shirt material to the trouser material, the ratio is what? 3 meter to 2 meter. It means that when you buy 3 meter of the shirt material, you buy 2 meters of the trouser material. It means that when you buy 3 times 2 meter of the shirt material, you buy 2 times 2 meter of the trouser material. That is, if you buy 6 meter of the shirt material, you buy 4 meter of the trouser material. It means that when you buy 3 times 3 meter of the shirt material, you buy 2 times 3 meter of the trouser material. It means if you buy 9 meter of the shirt material, you buy 6 meter of the trouser material. but we don't know what exact length of both the materials you have purchased. So assuming from this one, let's say that you have purchased 9x meter of the shirt material. Therefore, from this one we can say that if you have purchased 3x material of the shirt material, then 2x of the trouser material. This is the ratio, same as we have done here in this case, right? So this is the ratio. It means that you are assuming that you have purchased 3x meter of the shirt material and 2x meter of the trouser material. Okay, now you sell the material at 12% and 10% profit respectively. Now tell me one thing. If we are assuming that you have purchased 3x meter of the shirt material and 2x meter of the shirt material, it's time to calculate the cost price. So the cost price in this case for the shirt material, the cost price of the shirt material will be, for 1 meter it costs you rupees 50. Therefore, for 3x, it will cost you 3x times 50. Rupees 3x times 50. If you solve it, you get rupees 150x. Okay. So, now for this one, if your cost price for this one we have calculated here, what will the cost price for the trouser material? If for 1 meter it costs you rupees 90, therefore for 2x meter it will cost you 2x times 90 rupees and rupees 180x. We know the cost price. Now let's calculate the selling price. It has been given to us that you sell the material. I'm calling you because we are assuming that you are the shopkeeper and you own a shop. So you sell the materials at 12% and 10%. So this 12% is for the shirt material and this 10% is for the trouser material, because respectively is given here. So if you sell at the 12% profit, now we know that profit is always on what? Is always on the cost price. So when you have to calculate the selling price is what? Cost price plus profit. Your cost price is rupees 150x and your profit is what? 12%. 12% on what? 12% is on the cost price, because this is in the terms of percentage. So 12% of the cost price. Profit is always calculated on the cost price. 150x. If you solve it here, 150x and 150x is common because this is in multiplication. So take 150x common, right? This is using the distributivity property of multiplication over addition of two rational numbers. Okay, so 150x, here you get 1 plus 12 over 100. If you solve it, you get 150x times, this gives you 112 over 100, right? If you further solve it, this 0 gone, then this is 5 times 3, 15, 5 times 2, 10. This comes 56. So this is 18, 168x. So the selling price is 168x for the shirt material. Let's do for this one. What will be the selling price for the case of trouser material? Now selling price is again cost price plus profit. Cost price is 180x. Profit is 10%, 10% on the cost price. So cost price is 180x. 180x common here, on both the sides. In both the numbers. So 180x you take out as common. This is 1 plus 10 over 100. If you solve it, you get 180x times 110 over 100. Now this gives you 18 times 11. So 18 times 11 means 18 and 18, 198. 198, yes. 198x. So the selling price for the shirt material, for the trouser material, is 198x. Okay. Now it is saying that when you sell, the total sale is rupees 36,600. You sold out both the materials, and the selling price for this one is 168x for the complete material, and the selling price for the complete material, trouser material, is 198x. But this total amount is actually what? 36,600. So if you add these two, that is 168x, the selling price of the shirt material plus the selling price of the trouser material, this gives you 36,600. If you solve it, you get 176, 276, and 168 plus 8, 176. You get 366x is equal to 36,600. From this, you get x is equal to 36,600 divided by 366. You get x as 100. So if your x is 100, then what will be your 3x? Because we have assumed that the shirt material that you have purchased is of the length 3x meter. So from here, 3x is what? 3 times 100. So it comes as 300 meter. And for this one, this is 2 times 100. So this comes as 200 meter. Here it's only asking for the trouser material. So the trouser material is 200 meter. But we have calculated the shirt material, the length of the shirt material as well. Right? So this is your answer. This much trouser material you have bought, you purchased. Half of a herd of deer is grazing in the field, and 3/4 of the remaining are playing nearby. The rest 9 are drinking water from the pond. Find the number of deer in the herd. So let's say that this is a herd of deer. Let's say there are total X deer. Okay. If there are total X deer, then half of a herd of deer is grazing. So what's the half of it? X by 2 is grazing. If X by 2 is grazing, what's the remaining? Remaining is X by 2 deer that are not grazing. 3/4 of the remaining are playing nearby. Now X by 2 are grazing, remaining is X by 2 deer, but 3/4 of this remaining are playing nearby. So 3/4 of this is playing nearby. So X by 2 are grazing, X by 2 deer were not grazing, they were remaining. Of this X by 2, 3/4 are playing. Now tell me how much deer are left that are not playing. That will be 3 by 4 means what? Remaining is 1 by 4 of X by 2. They are not playing and they are actually drinking water, and this is actually equal to 9. I'm again repeating for you. X deer, half of it are grazing, so remaining half are not grazing, right? Remaining half are not grazing. Of this remaining, that is X by 2 deer, 3/4 means that 1/4 is left out of it. 3/4 of this remaining are playing. So left is what? Left is 1/4. So 1/4 of this x by 2 are not playing and they are drinking water, and that is actually the number is 9. This is equal to 9. If you solve this, you get x by 8 is equal to 9, and if you solve it, you get x as 72. So the number of deer in this herd is 72.